Welcome to a special edition of World News, and behind me, St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican, the end of a day bursting with history, majesty, and just hours ago, a first message to the world from the cardinals. Black smoke, lots of black smoke, signaling no pope, not yet. And right now, the cardinals are back in their quarters after taking the solemn vows in front of 1.2 billion Catholics watching from around the world. The last we saw them today, the words ending this sacred and secret ritual.
Extra omnes.
Extra omnes, which means everybody out, and the doors of the Sistine Chapel were closed. All day, the square outside of St. Peter's, a sea of umbrellas as the faithful, undeterred by the cold and rain, came to watch. And ABC's Josh Elliott reports from there tonight.
As you know, Diane, it was a rainy day here in Rome, but it couldn't dampen the pageantry and ritualistic spirit of this first day of Conclave. It was a day that started with ceremony and then solemn prayer and, as ever, anticipation. As the rains fell, the crowds packed St. Peter's Square, looking skyward for the results of today's first papal vote. But then, the dense black smoke rose, indicating there was no consensus yet. Just hours before, those 115 voting cardinals entered today's final mass, perhaps sneaking in some last conversations before heading to the conclave. Some, such as Boston's Cardinal Sean O'Malley, took the time to sit alone in prayer. One by one, the cardinals walked down the aisle before taking individual oaths to obey the rules of the conclave, which demand the utmost secrecy. If they ever break their silence, they risk excommunication. Cardinal Dolan, now thought to be a considerable contender, gave a final radio dispatch from Rome before heading into conclave himself.
It's sort of a unique, special morning, huh? I never thought I'd be doing what I'm about to do.
The last words we'll hear from him for a while.
Extra omnes.
Everyone out. And with that, the doors closed. The work of choosing a pope would truly begin.
There's a sanctity in the air that they're trying to see who does it belong to among these 115 cardinals. Who is the person who is holy? And that's the toughest judgment of all.
Then when the world sees white, inside the Sistine Chapel, the Dean of Cardinals will ask the newly elected Pope if he accepts the result. And if he does, he is from that moment the new Pope and chooses the name he will then be called. Next, he walks to the nearby Room of Tears, so called because some newly elected popes have in the past cried there as they absorbed the enormity of the moment. He then dons his new robes, puts the papal ring on his finger, and is led down the Hall of Blessings to the central window of St. Peter's Basilica, where he is introduced to the masses with a simple Latin phrase, Habemus Papam, we have a pope. And until then, Diane, the world's wait continues. And if history is any indication of how long this might take, keep in mind that none of the last four conclaves lasted more than 3 days. But also keep in mind, the last conclave to go more than 5 days was back in 1831. That one, Diane, took 50 days.
Everyone had to pack a lot of bags then. Thank you so much, Josh. And ABC's Cecilia Vega was also moving through the crowds in St. Peter's today and found a flock both devout and some people defiant.
As one of the Catholic Church's holiest rituals went on inside, outside, a moment of chaos. Just steps away from St. Peter's Basilica, these women took their tops off to protest what they call patriarchy in the church. They met their match with Vatican police. Authorities pounced, and police shoved away the media. Security is on high alert, with thousands of pilgrims packed into this holy site. Many of those pilgrims started their day in prayer at this Mass to send the cardinals on their way.
For hours, people waited outside to get a spot here in St. Peter's Basilica just to catch a glimpse of one of these men who are walking down the aisle today. One of them will be the next pope.
Others braved Rome's pouring rain, waiting for that single smoky sign. some coming all the way from the United States, like Tanya Guerrero from Texas.
I think it's pretty amazing that we get to be a part of it.
But even among the devoted, there are calls for reform of everything from the church's handling of the sex abuse scandal to allowing female priests and greater transparency.
The sex abuse scandal has been going on forever. I think that next pope will deal with it.
When you think of women and their role in the Catholic Church right now, where do you feel women stand?
Not as high. Not as high.
For many here and around the world, there is hope that whomever emerges as the next leader of the Catholic Church, change is on the way.
And those protesters we saw today were detained by police that scene, making for a very intense moment in what was otherwise a very peaceful day. We met pilgrims from all over the world, from Europe, from Latin America, from Asia. Diane, they were singing, they were cheering, they were rooting for the Cardinals from their own countries. In some ways, it really felt like a little bit of a soccer match out there.
All right, Cecilia Vega, thank you so much.